Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thursday, September 26th, and it is a day of rejoicement here in the Mile High City. Altitude TV has reached a deal. I don't want to say it's necessarily the deal that everyone's been waiting for. It's different than what a lot of folks expected. As I've been reporting for the last couple of weeks here, Altitude has had multiple balls in the air on this very topic. I don't think they're quite done yet, but we're going to get into everything that was announced this morning. That's where we're going to park a lot of our time for today, is what this Altitude deal is, what it means, the impact it's got on a national scale. Altitude was, of course, one of the first RSNs to fall victim to the shifting landscape and not suddenly finding themselves not on television, what this means for all that, what fans can expect, all of that. Then we will get into a couple other things as well, including more drama out of the Pac-12 and the Mountain West Conference, Air Force and UNLV, who has been in headlines a lot this week. We'll talk a little bit about that. Caitlin Clark, her season comes to an end. We'll touch on that briefly. And then I am going to talk to you guys just a little bit about what is going on at Oakland Coliseum. We talked yesterday about the fact that fans were ripping seats right out of the ground. Got a little bit more wholesome at yesterday's game in Oakland. Let's get into things here. Kicking off with Altitude TV. They have announced this morning at 7 a.m. they're back on television, kind of. As you can see here, sitting next to the 9 News logo, the local affiliate here, the local NBC affiliate here. We'll talk a little bit about the irony of all of that coming up here shortly. But a deal is done. Altitude will be back on television for 20 Avalanche games, 20 Nuggets games available over the air here locally at no cost, assuming you've got at least a satellite or a cable plan or something like that, and you can get the local channels. 20 Avalanche, 20 Nuggets games available at no cost. We'll get into which games those are here shortly. The other, and this is really the biggest part to it, the big announcement came today in the form of Altitude Plus. Altitude Plus is a new streaming service available from Altitude that is $20 a month, and you have to be within the Altitude broadcast region. And again, we're going to get to what that is. We've got the map here that we're going to talk about. Like I said, what exactly that all means, where all that's available. I'm just going to kind of fly through it from a general overview standpoint. So Altitude Plus, $20 a month. That's going to get you all Avs, all Nuggets, plus additional content that they are, they're saying they'll be producing that'll be exclusive to the app. In addition to that, it's also going to get you access to all the pregame, all the postgame reports, intermission reports, all that good stuff. Overall, just my kind of initial thoughts on this overall is that this is a net positive. This is a good thing for Altitude. This is a good thing for fans. I get why there is maybe a little bit of pushback here from folks about it's not exactly what you wanted. $20 is a little expensive. And again, we're going to get into all of that here. But I do think overall, in the grand scheme of things, this is a win. This is a win. And you're bringing Avalanche and Nuggets games, championship contenders. You're bringing those games back to the households of millions. I was talking with a couple folks here locally, in-house here at Guerilla Sports this morning. And I've used my parents as the example on all of this. My parents aren't old, but my parents are older folks, right? They don't necessarily want to go through the whole hassle of streaming and finding an illegal website to download games and things like that. They've just wanted to come home, throw the game on TV, and watch. And this deal here is going to allow folks like that to do that. For at least 37 games a year, including, I should say for the Avalanche. For the Colorado Avalanche, you're going to get 20 games that are locally broadcast on a channel that, if you're a Comcast subscriber, you already get. And then you're going to get 17 national games. The Nuggets have a double-digit amount of national games as well. So right now, if you are a Comcast subscriber and you change absolutely nothing, you are getting 37 more games on your TV this year than you, I guess I shouldn't say, you got some national games. You're getting more games on your TV this year than you got last year. And that's great. But these are 82-game slates. So how do you make up for the rest of it, right? Well, that's where Altitude Plus comes in, which I do think is an interesting option. $20 a month, and you're going to get everything. You're going to get everything. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are out there saying, I already pay so much for streaming services, for other cable services. I don't want to have to pay an additional fee. And I get that. But again, you have a nice option here. This is something that you can sign up for. You don't have to use it all year round. You can not use it in the summer. And you can also maybe come down a package tier to save yourself some money. But the main pushback that you're going to get from folks is, hey, why is it that Anaheim, Dallas, Seattle, Las Vegas all found OTA solutions, over-the-air solutions, meaning partnering with a local broadcast company to provide the games for free? It's a fair question. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, but like I've been reporting, this isn't done. There's still more to come. So I think that's maybe part of the reason why we're getting this announcement today, and maybe people are waiting to see. There's more to come here. That's my understanding. But let's talk a little bit about where this is going to be available. If you are looking to use Altitude Plus, where do you have to be? So right here, here's the map for you. A 9-state territory for Altitude. And they've got a tool on their website. You can actually go, there's a whole page all about Altitude Plus where you can actually even sign up in advance, start getting notifications, alerts, things like that. But you need to be in Altitude's existing cable footprint, essentially, in order to be able to access Altitude Plus. So look, I like this, and for those other services, whether it's being offered for free, this is this is the way that those free services are set up as well. You've got to be within the footprint. You've got to be within the territory in order to access that free service through the OTA service. Where I do think that this is going to get a little confusing and a little complicated is for the folks who are in surrounding areas. Because look, if you've been within Colorado for the last 6 years, you have not been able to watch games. This is a solution. You can cut out the middleman. You can go directly through KSE and you can get the games. Where this is going to get a little messy is for folks like Avs fans that live in Arizona. You'll also notice Utah is now no longer in the Altitude broadcast footprint. That's partially because the Utah Hockey Club is now there. So you got the Utah Hockey Club as well as the Utah Jazz. It's now a competing market, so it is no longer within the Altitude footprint. But for example, I've got someone, a buddy of mine, who lives in Arizona, and he and I have kind of laughed over the last few years, saying he can watch more Avalanche games on his television than people in Colorado. It looks like that's not going to be the case anymore. Folks that are, if where you live, if your region is colored in on this map here on the screen, you will have to go through Altitude Plus in order to get Avalanche games, Nuggets games. You won't, I believe, and we're waiting for hard clarification on this, but the way that I'm understanding this is you will not be able to utilize for the NHL ESPN Plus anymore, which offered all live out-of-market games at no cost. No additional costs, I should say. Just your standard, whatever it is, $8.99. I have the Disney Plus bundle that gets you everything. So that's where it's going to get a little bit messy. However, I'm reading through some of these comments here. That's the other thing too, because there's been a lot of mixed reaction this morning. The $20 a month, that's more than maybe I think what a lot of people were expecting. I'll be honest though, for a service that is this niche, that came in much lower than what I thought it was going to be. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. In my experience, to make a model like this work for such a smaller market, you're typically seeing monthly fees in excess of $40 or $50. A good question just came in here that kind of stopped me in my tracks. What is the difference between the blue versus red on the map? There's actually 3 different colors on this map. There's red, blue, and yellow. And it's hard to see on the screen here, but in that key, it does say if you are in a red territory on this map, you have access to abs and nuggets through Altitude Plus. So that's the entire state of Colorado, 99.8% of the state of Kansas, all of Nebraska, parts of Idaho. If you're just in a yellow county, a yellow territory on this map, which is a teeny fraction of Kansas and then a large portion of South Dakota, that only gets you access to Denver Nuggets games through Altitude Plus. Then the much larger area, if you're in a blue area, that gets you only access to Colorado Avalanche games. So you've got to be in a red part of this map to get access to the full slate of offerings in Altitude Plus. If you are in yellow, it's Nuggets only. If you're in blue, it's Avalanche only. Now, again, I haven't seen an explanation as to why or how those rights work. Why you can only get Nuggets in South Dakota or whatever, but that is what the different colors are on the map. Here's another one from Avery. It just sucks that other teams are doing this for free, but the Avs just have to make more money. Again, my understanding is, guys, and I get why the sentiment can maybe feel this way. My understanding is there's still more to come. I don't think this is the last announcement we are going to hear from Altitude over the next few weeks, next couple of months. And I have a feeling that it's going to be very closely tied into why they couldn't just do the OTA offering it for free option. I want to run through some of your guys' reactions here because this is significant. And while some more of these comments are coming in, I'm just going to throw up right here. So this is the Avs slate of games that if you are in the Denver metro area, you are going to get at no cost on Channel 9 or their affiliate channel, Channel 20. All right, I guess it's My 20. I don't know if that's actually Channel 20. That actually is Channel 2. It might be Channel 20. But on the local NBC affiliate stations here in Denver, that's where you will be able to find those games. So here's the 20, and this does not include the 17 national games that were already announced for the Colorado Avalanche on TNT and ESPN. So let's see here what we've got in this chat, because like I said, I put out a poll this morning and overwhelmingly it does seem like the response has been positive, that something got done. Don't need a satellite for local stations. It's $20 antenna. It does include Boise. Is Altitude a year-round station or just for teams during the season? It is a year-round station. And based on the release that we saw this morning, they are planning on having content that goes year-round all throughout this app. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. Now, again, I haven't seen any type of plan right now. If you go to the Altitude Plus part of the website, it only offers it to you month by month. There is no pay for the year option. So we'll see. I have a feeling that there will be a lot of folks who will want to do what, some people are suggesting of you have it active in season, then you can deactivate it during the summer. If I liked the Nuggets, it might be worth it, but I'm not paying $20 a month for 45 games. However, my grandparents might pay for this, but I'm worried that it might not be available on TVs yet. I'm fairly certain that Altitude, they've been going through and replying to folks on Twitter and on Instagram and things like that. I am fairly certain that I did see a response where they said that it would be available through TV apps. Now, again, maybe that's not going to be right away. But I do remember seeing that is at least coming at some point. I thought 20 was about right. They could not charge more than 20. I completely agree with that. I really feel like I felt like 20 was a little bit rich, just in terms of streaming services. I saw someone kind of comparing it, but I thought that was all. I also thought that was the cap. You couldn't go above that, and good on them for getting it done at that, at that price point with, I know, everything that they've kind of got up in the air going on right now. $20 a month is much better than what I was fearing it might be. 9 News thing is great. That is a very smart move. Could also be using it as a test this season, and maybe next season, after working out the kinks, make it free. I think that's not a bad thought, that this could be something where they're saying, hey, well, if this goes really well on OTA and the ratings are good, maybe that makes more sense. But for right now, it's just the 20 games. Here are the Nuggets 20 games who are at their media day right now. By the way, make sure you are checking out all things Guerilla Sports socials, as we are getting all of that content pushed out to you first and at the highest quality that you guys have come to expect from us. Again, keep the comments coming in, guys. I want to hear what you think. This has been 6 years in the making to get Avalanche and Nuggets games back available to the masses. And no matter how you feel about the price point, how it's being delivered, if they could have done more with OTA, I think all of that stuff, those are all valid talking points and arguments to be made. At the end of the day, this is a huge win for Altitude and for the local market here in Colorado that has not been able to get these games, like I said, for more than half a decade. This is an option that makes it more widely available. And yes, I know they've had Hulu and DirecTV. Those have been major. If you wanted to switch to those services, those were major upheavals of the way that a lot of people had their bills arranged. I'm very familiar with the cable industry. What I just said there is a literal marketing tool that those networks and those companies use. There is real hard data that says the more services you have with one provider, the less likely you are to switch. So, meaning if I've got cable and I've got my cell phone and I've got my internet with Xfinity, the odds of me switching to a different television provider are small, and there's real data that supports that. That's why Comcast never flinched at the Fubo deal, at the DirecTV deal. Their data says people are not going to switch just from the one channel. This is now an option where you don't have to switch. You don't have to have a $100 bill for cable through a different company than who provides your internet. This is an add-on. This is something that you can do in addition to. Maybe you have a streaming service that you don't like. You can add this one onto it, and you've got all your games on your television in one place. If it's not available on TV, one, I would be pretty surprised. I don't think the Avs and Nuggets would make it so that this app, so you would only watch on phones and tablets after all of this. But like I said, I think overwhelmingly it's a win for fans, for Altitude, and honestly for the folks over at Altitude who, I think are great people. Like, they have really good people that work there, that work hard, that put in a lot of effort to get this stuff to market. I'm happy for all of them. I'm curious to see what keeps coming of this, because I do think there are some people who want a little bit more out of this, want a little bit more, want it to be a little bit easier to get, want it to be a little bit more accessible. And I get it. It's not the perfect solution, but it is a much more realistic solution. So I'm happy for altitude. I'm happy for fans here locally. It has been way too long. And no matter what, you'll get to dip your toe in this year. With the central piece of this deal being Altitude and 9 News teaming up to put 20 games for each team available locally at no cost. So it's a win. It's not perfect. I understand why people want to maybe push back a little bit, but overall, it's a positive. We're going to keep tracking this as more and more details come out. We'll probably have a video out today or tomorrow walking you through comprehensively what all the details are. I'm working my sources right now to get a little bit more information than maybe on stuff that has been widely reported so that we can give you guys a full picture of what to expect out of this new altitude agreement. But I'm happy for my parents, right? They're going to be able to turn on the TV and watch some games this year. They're championship contenders. I have made the argument over the last couple of years that the biggest crime in all of this has been the fact that you have robbed yourself of a new generation of fans. There's a direct correlation between a team winning a Stanley Cup and USA Hockey youth registration. There's a direct correlation to it. And you've missed out on a lot of that. And I hope that this deal can help get these teams back in front of the next generation of fans for the Avs and for the Denver Nuggets. Last comment here that I just wanted to address. Unfortunately, still have to have DirecTV or Comcast or something like that to get all games, including national games. Direct stream still seems like the best one stop minus the couple ESPN plus only games. You don't need DirecTV or Comcast to get the local games. You need the satellite that's available at Best Buy for $20. You would, as correct in the comment here, you would need Comcast, DirecTV, Fubo, something like that, in order to get the games that are going to be on TNT and ESPN. Then the Avs will have a couple of ESPN exclusive games. But if you've got ESPN, you can access those games through ESPN Plus. And yeah, Rogue Wave Media here. Crazy that almost 25% of the games are non-altitude and over the air. It's actually, if you're counting non-altitude and OTA, it's closer to 50% of the games. It's at 37. So 37 of 82. You're almost at half for the games that won't be exclusive to altitude on DirecTV and Fubo, which again, it's significant. It's significant. Let's move on here. We're going to keep it local-ish, but it was something that we reported yesterday. Altitude. Can you guys tell where my brain is? Air Force was the word I was looking for there, who plays at altitude. Air Force, it was reported that Air Force had signed an agreement not to leave the Mountain West Conference. Mountain West has, of course, had 5 teams leave the Mountain West within the last 10 days to go to the Pac-12 starting in 2026. Mountain West Conference put out a letter to their remaining teams asking for them to sign an agreement saying that they weren't going to leave, that they were going to stay in the Mountain West and help keep it where it was at. Well, the reports came out that Air Force had signed it and that there was a rumor that UNLV had signed it as well. Of course, there was all the controversy yesterday with their quarterback redshirting himself over alleged NIL deals that are promises that had fallen through. Well, reports have come out this morning that have said, hold on, hold your horses here. Nobody has signed anything. There have been conversations. There's maybe even been some verbal agreements, but nobody has put pen to paper on anything. And the reports continued to go on and say that nothing is finalized until pen is put to paper, and that those agreements and deals are signed off on and approved. So there's a little bit of maybe worry that Air Force and UNLV could still be swayed to leave the Mountain West Conference, which would then put the Mountain West at risk of losing their ability to stay in Division I college football, which is exactly the fate that the Pac-12 is looking to avoid by adding these teams from the Mountain West. Now, there are also rumors that there could be a couple other schools, potentially Cal, maybe UCLA, that would rejoin the Pac-12. But right now, it looks like the Pac-12 is trying to get there purely by taking teams from the Mountain West. So we'll see what happens here. Air Force and UNLV were among the teams that were rumored to be interested in heading to the Pac-12. That was why it was significant news yesterday when it was being reported that they were among the schools that had signed to stay in the Mountain West. Now, again, it's also being reported that right now the report is that they haven't signed. No one is saying that there hasn't been a verbal agreement or that they're not going to sign, but nothing's done yet, and it looked like maybe it was yesterday. So we'll see. I would find it a little bit funny and maybe a little bit interesting if all those schools leave for the Pac-12, because wouldn't that really just make the Pac-12 the new Mountain West? And would that really have that much of an impact on like the power of the conference and how good the schools are and how they're looked at and things like that? I don't know. I just find it a little weird that you're essentially just turning the Pac-12 into the new Mountain West Conference. It's neither here nor there. We're going to keep an eye on this because this is significant and what it means for the Mountain West, what it means for Air Force. We'll stay on top of this as it continues to develop. We're also going to stay on top of what's happening in UNLV as they've got a lot of balls in the air right now. Talked to you guys yesterday about at the Oakland Coliseum. This is a quick one for me here. At the Oakland Coliseum, they were tearing the seats out as we were in the final week. There is one game left at the Oakland Coliseum for the Oakland A's before they'll be heading to Sacramento for 3 years and then over to Las Vegas for their alleged permanent home going forward. Last night, it wasn't tearing out seats. It was something slightly more wholesome. Fans were asking grounds crew members if they could put some dirt from the field into cups, bottles, bags, things like that, and they were more than happy to oblige. There were several fans who were down there, like I said, handing cups that they had gotten from the concession stands, empty water bottles, bags that they had emptied their merchandise out of, and were having sand dumped into it. I love this. This is the stuff where, you know, even them ripping the seats out, I get it. If you're a fan of a team like this, and to have your team taken after as long as the A's have been in Oakland, I get it. You want a piece of that team to take with you. And this, I thought, was slightly more wholesome and a little bit less destructive from the fans in Oakland. I'm bummed. I'm bummed for the fans in Oakland. It's tough to lose your team. It's tough to lose your team. And I thought this was a nice little gesture. The final game is tomorrow. We will we'll see what the fans do. They were calling on more seats to be open, to be staffed a little bit better. Doesn't sound like they're getting that. I'm a little worried for the fate of the stadium. There's a minor league team that's going to be playing there. It's not owned by the team. The Oakland Coliseum isn't going anywhere. It's just the A's who are going somewhere. But we'll see what they do. We'll see how they handle the final game there at Oakland Coliseum. But I loved seeing this last night. It was definitely a little bit more of a somber moment on the broadcast. Last thing we're going out with today, Caitlin Clark, her rookie season is done. It was historic. They are swept out of the playoffs, losing the first 2 games of the best of 3. Just outstanding stuff from Caitlin Clark this season. Set a lot of records. Was the only rookie to have a triple-double, let alone 2. Just an outstanding season for Caitlin Clark, and to see what she did for the game this year in the WNBA, it was transformative. Transformative. We read off the stat earlier in the week about her games averaging just over 1.1 million viewers. Every other game that Caitlin Clark was not involved in the WNBA this year averaged just over 340K. What she did for the WNBA is huge. They've expanded quicker than they were expecting. They landed a multi-year massive distribution deal for cable. It was great. Sad to see her rookie year come to an end, but I'm so anxious to see what Caitlin Clark continues to do in the future going forward. That is all we've got today. Like we said, we are cranking away on everything Denver Nuggets today for Media Day, so I'm going to go help out with that as well. So we're not done today. Plus, we've got Dumb Jock coming up this afternoon with a very special guest. I'm excited for that one, so make sure you guys are tuning in there as well. That'll do it for today. Live Moods will take you guys home tomorrow on Daily. It's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm not doing the Daily. But we got a great show for you guys coming up tomorrow to round out the week. That'll do it. It's Guerilla Sports Daily. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, you guys. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, Altitude's back on TV in Denver. We'll be talking more about it all day long. Thanks so much for watching, guys.